Hey everyone, Mike from PTE here. Just wanted to give you a heads up in case you missed it from the title. This is the first part of a two-part episode. We had so much fun recording this one that it went long and we had to split it in two. So if you're like my wife Nikki and can't stand the suspense and just absolutely have to wait until the show is done so you can just binge it, I'm sorry, but you'll just have to wait. Except don't wait, because this episode is a blast. Just listen twice. Anyway, on with the show.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Pub Trivia Experience. My name is Chris, and we are gathered here tonight for a little 2-on-2 trivia two ways. That's right, 2 teams, 2 players a team, 1 amazing host. And no, I'm not that full of myself. It ain't me. So let's go ahead, let's pass it out to the Chicagoland area. Brittany Shaw, my friend, how you doing? What are you drinking?
Hey Chris, thanks for having me on. I am doing well, except it's been excessively warm in the Chicagoland area today. So it's like, I don't know, approximately 80,000 degrees outside. Maybe slight exaggeration, but it's way too many degrees.
I feel so bad for you.
So even though the sun is now gone because it started storming, I'm still feeling sunny. In fact, I'm feeling sunny D. So I've got a Sunny D vodka seltzer because I grew up in the 90s and I handle my nostalgia with alcoholic versions of my childhood favorites.
To be fair, that version of Rugrats where they all became alcoholics was my favorite.
All grown up, yeah.
I'm going to hand this all over to you. You're in charge, so
all right.
Just don't.
Well, thanks, Chris. So first of all, wanted to say thank you to Chris and the rest of the PTE podcast for inviting me on to host tonight. I'm going to be running my game and my format, which is called Cozy Quiz, and I've just started running it weekly at a local place called the Critical Grind here in Shorewood, Illinois. It is the Critical Grind board game and board game cafe. I don't know why I just decided there needed to be an and somewhere. But it is my favorite place, my home away from home. It is run by a wonderful person named Dana, and she lets me take over the cafe space on Tuesday nights to host my game. And the purpose of the game is to drive business to the Critical Grind and to keep them going because they are a small business and they are so inclusive and welcoming of everybody in that space. And that's just more of what the world needs. So doing what I can to help them keep going. And I just wanted to say thank you for having me on to run this.
So, Brittany, real quick, I don't know if you know this, but those that have listened to the podcast for a while know that we started off the podcast as a way to try and drive, traffic to a local business. Back then, it was the all-male strip club. Mike was actually working there with the name Critical Grind.
Oh, wonderful.
Magic Mike was copyrighted. So.
I was going to ask if Magic Mike had any sort of legal dispute with you over that storyline. So
there's another joke that I would make here, but it would be gloriously inappropriate. So I'm just not going to.
I can't.
All right then.
It burns. It's burning my brain.
Well, now that we're hearing some of our voices from tonight, I'll go ahead and invite everyone. So, Chris, I'll start with you since you welcomed me so warmly. How are you doing and what are you drinking?
I'm doing well. I love the fact that you went with since you welcomed me so warmly instead of saying you interrupted me so rudely. So, I appreciate that. I got myself here. This is from the Huntsville, Alabama allocation. I have not had this yet, but Mike talked about this for a while. So this is a peanut butter porter.
Ooh.
It looks like a Jif can.
I think they're actually out of Gadsden. It's back 40. I think they're at Gadsden. He's going to get it eventually.
Moms choose peanut butter porter.
I remember my first beer.
Nice. It's worth the wait.
I also know full well this beer's not going to last me all night. I got a second beer for when we get to it. So,
Well, we'll
Good job.
introduce that when it comes in.
Right?
Oh my God.
Right?
I am so glad I kept 3 of these and didn't give one to Jeff. I gave one to Jeff. I could have given him 2. I'm so glad I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be a good night.
Well, Chris, let's meet your teammate for the night. Located about, I don't know, an hour from my house. It's Jeremy Goodson.
Hello, Brittany. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing fine. How are you doing, and what are you drinking?
I'm doing good, and I am drinking out of from the Dr. Pepper 7-Up company out of Plano, Texas, a Dr. Pepper Zero.
Okay.
Yeah,
There you go.
I didn't have any booze in the house. I didn't have time to go get some earlier, so next time. But this will be good.
Well, there you
Jeremy,
go.
You've had a whole 3 hours to prepare for this, so.
Yeah, but I had to get the stuff done around the house because I'm doing a podcast tonight. Crap, I got to get this stuff done now.
Well, Jeremy, you and Chris will be taking on the team with an adjective that I'll figure out later of Tim and Mike. So let's talk to Mike first. Mike, how are you doing? What are you drinking?
Hey, everybody. The artist formerly known as Critical Grind here. I'm doing very well. I am actually drinking 2 things tonight. Right now, we like to keep it classy in the Mod household. So I'm finishing off the final swallow of a Kirkland brand Malbec that we had for dinner. So I'm going to drink that.
While you're drinking that, I'll remind you that the final swallow was his money move.
And then I'm going to let that pass without comment and pop this open. This is a strawberry shake India Pale Ale from the Westbrook Brewing Company. Very good beer. This kills the 4-pack that I bought a little while back. 7% ABV. Strawberry shake India Pale Ale is an accurate description because that is what it tastes like. It is very refreshing, and I am going to enjoy it while I also enjoy, hopefully, kicking some ass with Tim here.
Okay, well, that's a hell of an introduction for Tim. So, Tim, how are you doing, and what are you drinking?
I am doing well, Brittany. I am doing well. I am, let's see, I am drinking Midnight Bike Ride from, who is this? 3 Odd Guys Brewing in Apopka, Florida. It's a double IPA, 8.2%. And I've had this one, I think, on the podcast before, so I am excited to be here. I'm excited to play trivia. It's actually been a while since I have played team trivia. Everything I've done lately has all been individual or hosting, so I'm excited.
Well, who would play trivia solo all the time? Oh, wait, that's me. But now that we've introduced our teams and everyone's done their Foley sounds for the episode, for the first part, let's get into how tonight's game is going to work. And then you guys can kind of come up with a team name to give me at your leisure. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to run almost exactly the same game as I run Tuesday nights at the Critical Grind. Slight differences are made because I can't really do an audio round for the podcast, and I can't really do a photo round for the same reason I can't do an audio round, but slightly different reasons because that one has to do with not being able to show you things.
I insist that you sing for the audio round. I think that would make the most sense.
Oh, well, I've already figured out what I'm doing for the audio round.
Ooh, okay.
And fortunately for your listeners, it will not be singing. Unfortunately for your listeners, it's because I've decided to Shatnerize the lyrics for the songs that I use.
Yes.
So, that being said, here's the way the format shakes out. Our typical format is that round 1 is a general knowledge round featuring 9 different categories, plus what we call a Toastmaster special, which is one question of the game that Dana, our Toastmaster, writes for us. And I'll talk about the topics when we start that round. Round 2 is typically our audio round. Tonight it's our lyrics round, and it's called Let's Get Weird. And it is a Weird Al round. where I will Shatnerize the lyrics to some Weird Al songs, and I'm going to ask you a couple questions about it when we get there. Then after that, at my game, I normally have a handout for my teams to be working on. So I'm going to give you that rapid fire, and y'all will give me all your answers back at the same time. And then, while to give myself time to grade stuff, I have a mini game. So I'll give you 5 questions of that at a time. It's 10 questions. I'll give you 5 at a time. The handouts theme is called "Was the Book Better? Really?" And I'm going to give you 10 movies, and you're going to give me the piece of literature that they were adapted from. And the mini game is called "Here's Some Money, Go See a Star Wars." It's a quick fire round of Star Wars trivia, and it is the reason that Jeremy and Tim are not allowed to be on the same team tonight.
So just to point out that you didn't put Jeremy and I on the same team for the Star Wars round, but you paired Mike and I, who have both
for the
made
Weird Al
multiple appearances on the Beard Al podcast together.
Well, I did my best. So I realized that I had to pick between those two, but it felt like maybe Weird Al was enough of a strength of Jeremy's as well that it would still not be too much of a disadvantage for either team. So let's see. Round 3, which would be our normal after halftime thing, is called the Fadial round. And that is my version of a player's choice round. The players get to tell me what they would like me to do for a round, and I reserve the right to do whatever I want to it. Those of you who've written trivia games and do monkey's paw style may be familiar with that tactic. The player who chose this round told me that they wanted a round on flowers. However, they verbally said it, and they did not tell me if they meant flowers with a W or flowers with a U. So I did both.
Love it.
The Fadial round is called Ruby Rose and the Rye Sense of Humor, Rye being spelled R-Y-E. Every question in that round's answer is either a type of flower or a type of flower. So
you got my hopes up with R.
Clear as mud.
Hoping it was a type of whiskey.
Well, we'll see. And then round 4 is another general knowledge round, which features the same topics from the first round, with the exception of there's a question called the Cozy Toast Inspiration, which is where I use the question Dana gave me to come up with my own question sort of based around that. And then we'll have a final. Now, I do have elements of chaos to my game because it's a board game cafe, and what's life without a little chaos? So I give players extra ways to get points. So I'm going to give you a couple of those ways because there's one of them I can't give you just due to
not that kind of.
I was like, I don't know what you're doing. I was like, yeah, it's like a bajillion degrees outside. So I just thought. So one of the ways everyone has the opportunity at a bonus point is a social media clue called a one-up, which is something that Dana writes. So I'm going to give you the very first one-up that Dana wrote for our game. It's a clue to a board game. And if you can figure it out, I will give you a bonus point. So we'll also call this a warm-up question for you. So here is your clue, and you have to identify the board game this goes with. In 2003, Burn a Nation has forsaken the countryside.
What was that word?
Burn a Nation. BURNINATION. Jeremy and Chris are locked in. Mike and Tim, you can talk this one out.
Yeah, okay. It's board game related. I know Trogdor is the Burninator, but I don't know how that's related to a board game at all.
Is there a Trogdor board game?
That's what I'm at. Or is there a Homestar Runner board game? I'm like, I think I get the reference. I just don't know how it associates with a board game.
Right.
You're absolutely right. Trogdor was the first thing that popped in my head.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd feel better about a Trogdor game, but what would it? I assume we need the name of the game.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean I'm fine with that. I don't know a game associated with this.
You want to just say like The Legend of Trogdor? I don't know. I mean, I just know the reference, but I don't know the game itself.
I'm in the same boat.
All right, you
So-
want to just go with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, we'll say The Legend of Trogdor.
All right, Jeremy and Chris, what did you say?
I think it's just Trogdor, the board game.
Jeremy is correct. It is just Trogdor, the board game.
Okay, we should have. I
However-
thought I'd say let's just do Trogdor, but all right.
However, I am going to give both teams the one-up because the way this game works is the clue is always to a board game that's in the Critical Grinds library, so teams have an opportunity to look for it while they're there. So since you identified the reference, I'm fairly sure you would have found the board game on the shelf labeled Trogdor, the board game.
I
So I
absolutely
am going to
would
go
have.
ahead and give both teams the point. The one.
I love that that's a board game. That's fantastic.
Me too.
Yeah, I've not played it, but I've seen it.
And
I'm like,
Jeremy,
oh my
that was a
God, they
great
did it.
rendition. That was a great rendition you just did.
Oh,
That was
I
a
miss
very
the
good
day-
one.
I miss the days of Homestar Runner.
It is from Homestar Runner.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Homestar Runner.
That does not ring a bell to me at all.
So the other way that teams can get bonus points is with what we call roll for points. That's going to happen at the end of round 4. So we'll go through how that works when we get to it. But just know we're going to do that on the podcast tonight in some fashion. So, which is weirdly not the first time I've rolled a dice on this podcast. Literally, I just did this.
Literally,
Yeah.
2 nights ago. Yep.
So, that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started with the general knowledge round. Again, our players tonight, our teams are Chris and Jeremy and Mike and Tim. So, y'all ready?
Yeah. Are we coming up with team names, or are we just going with the name?
We already.
Oh,
have-
I mean, you can come up with team names if you want.
Okay.
I would
'Cause
love
we
if you
did.
came up with team names. Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah.
we already
Okay.
have ours.
Oh,
Yep.
cool. So, Tim, why don't you go ahead and give me your team name then?
So, given Mike's newly announced former career and my size, we decided to go with the Critical Grind and Rolls.
Okay. And is that like, I guess it's the same thing, whether I'm saying like rolls like somersaults or rolls like cinnamon rolls. So, all right, Critical Grind and Rolls, gotcha. And Chris and Jeremy.
We are a trivia podcast. So we are going to be the Critical Mind.
I like it, the Critical Mind.
Mm.
I also appreciate you two having very similar names. So that
That
I
won't be
say
confusing
that-
at all.
Yeah,
I
Critical,
say
what's
that
your answer?
I had teams one week that were named Bone Theory, and then the other one named themselves Bong Theory. So, like,
One letter.
Yeah. Well, they were friends and they were sitting at the same table together, so they just decided to mess with me, I think, or mess with each other. I don't know how it works. Sometimes it's a little bit of both. But that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into how this game works. I don't really have to go over rules with you guys. The big one is don't cheat, and I don't think you're going to because it's a trivia podcast, and that's no fun. I will let you know, and I think I told Mike and Chris this the other day. For my rules slide, I have a thing in there about how everyone here is human, therefore treat everyone with respect. But the way I say it is everyone here is human except insert name here. And so far I've changed the name every week. And so every week it's just been a different host of PTE. So it started with Dave, who was just some random guy. But ever since week 1, it has been a host of the Pub Trivia Experience podcast. So
Love it.
so far it's been Tim, it's been Chris, and then last week was Jeff. So Mike, you're up next. So so everyone here is human except for Mike. Mike is a robot and should not be taunted either, is how I phrase that. So that being said, Mike, you don't have to be a robot tonight. You can be a human. It's okay.
This is not the first time tonight that I've been a robot, because I was also a robot for my daughters earlier tonight. So
I'm a real boy.
they like it when I talk like this. So there you go.
Well, there you go. So that being said, let's talk about your categories for general knowledge. The categories for general knowledge tonight are technology, movies, history, the Toastmaster's choice, fashion, business, literature, geography, music, and games. I will say each of those as I read them out. And at my normal game, I have the round turned in all at once. Being that this is a trivia podcast, I'm going to have you do the standard lock and talk for each game or for each question. So I'll ask the question, y'all talk it out, tell me when one team's locked in and the other team can talk it out verbally. So that being said, let's start with technology. While it may be free if you join a plan or carrier, let me start that over. While it may be free if you join a new plan or carrier, what latest model of Apple product will run you $799 plus taxes if you buy the standard size direct from Apple? Note, I need the make and model for full credit. And full credit is 2 points, by the way. So everything is worth 2 points unless I specify that it's like 1 point for each part. So,
Okay, Brittany, we'll lock in.
okay. Critical Grind and Rolls is locked in. Critical Mind, you may talk it out.
So we're going back and forth here. Kristen mentioned the iPhone 14, which just came out. But I also remember reading an article about their new watch, and I'm thinking maybe that is what it is, because I think as Chris said in our messages, I think he thinks that it's $699 for the phone. I think their new watch, which is the Watch Ultra, or the Apple Watch Ultra, would be my guess. I don't know the price tag on it, but it would make sense because it did just come out.
No, that sounds about right. Like if it's going to be the new big bad for the watches, that price,
and it would probably make making headlines because it actually costs more than their new phone. So
yes, let's go with it.
So we're gonna say the Apple Watch Ultra.
Okay. Other team, what did you say?
Yeah, we went. I personally always forget about the watches. I still wear a watch that ticks. So we actually, but we had a similar thought process, but we ended up locking in with the iPhone 14 because we know that's the latest model.
Okay. Well, so I also forgot that the watches exist. However, I did just look it up, and in fact, the Apple Watch Ultra is also $799 when you purchase it. So I am going to go ahead and give both teams credit. The intended answer was, in fact, the iPhone 14. The Apple Watch Ultra also costs $799. The iPhone 14 costs $799 for the standard screen size and the lowest amount of memory, and it increases in price from there. So both teams are going to get credit for that. No one actually tried Apple Watch at my live game. But good on you for catching that one. So your next question's in movies.
I talked us out of a right answer and into a right answer. That doesn't make any sense, but okay.
Right?
Trivia is a fickle beast, man.
I was really hoping the Apple Watch was going to be something like $599 or something like that, where I could be like, no,
sorry,
you're wrong.
$798.99.
Right.
Yeah. But we're going to ask you a movies question now. So in movies, Phil Vischer, in a monumental light bulb moment, rebranded his graphics studios into what animation and production company in 1993 that would produce series of direct-to-video films like 3-2-1 Penguins and Larry Boy? The company now operates as a subsidiary of DreamWorks Classics, but still uses Solanum and Cucurbitaceae members as its logo.
I think we're locked in.
Okay. Then Critical Minds locked in. Critical Grind, you may talk.
Well, Mike, I like your answer there, given the clues that are there, like light bulb moment.
Yeah.
And Solanum.
Yeah.
I don't know what that last word is.
Logo?
She even said it, and I'm still not going to try to repronounce it. So
I mean, I like your answer of illumination, though.
Yeah, I mean, I know that when I think of other big, computer animated type of companies, that's the other one that pops into my head.
Larry Boy.
The Penguins thing, is Illumination the one that did the Madagascar series? I don't, because I think of them as like they've done like the Sing movies. They did the Super Mario Brothers, the new movie.
Okay, I'm and this isn't me talking you out of anything. I'm just going to talk and see if it jars anything.
Yeah.
Isn't Larry Boy the superhero alter ego of Larry the Cucumber from VeggieTales? I feel like there was like a Larry Boy and the Fib from Outer Space movie.
VeggieTales is a thing that I'm aware of its existence, but I know
Okay.
nothing about at all.
Okay. Like I said, I'm good with Illumination. I just hoped that maybe that might jog something for you.
Unfortunately, it doesn't. I don't know anything about VeggieTales.
So
the Penguins thing is making me wonder about Madagascar, but I don't remember who did that.
I wonder if Solanum and whatever are tomato and cucumber, or cucumber and tomato.
Good point.
I'm okay. I don't know if Illumination is who makes VeggieTales, but I really think that this is related to VeggieTales.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, there's nothing. When I think of Illumination's logo, it really doesn't have any members that I can think of. So that's kind of making me.
I almost wonder. Okay, so the light bulb matches what you're saying,
Right.
but the rest of it makes me wonder if VeggieTales is the right answer here, because I am 99% on Larry Boy, and that kind of makes me think about the Solanum and whatever being a cucumber and tomato. But I don't know if Illumination is who makes it, or if they're just VeggieTales Studios.
But that's a good point. But the focus on direct to video films kind of does draw me away. Like I was thinking, in the 90s that was direct to video, but maybe later but that draws me away from Illumination just because they've done a lot of theatrical release. So. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I don't have a good guess. I just threw out Illumination because it was the other one that popped in my head, and you seem to have a lot more thunder.
If it's Illumination, I'll bite the bullet on that one, but we'll lock in with VeggieTales.
All right, locking in with VeggieTales. Chris and Jeremy, what did you come up with?
So, I thought you were going to trip into it, and you almost did. So when a light bulb goes off, it really gives you a big idea.
And that is who does
that's what we went with. Big Idea Studios. So it is VeggieTales.
Never heard of that. So sorry, Tim, I couldn't have gotten you
there. Big Idea Studios, something like that.
All right, so you're going with Big Idea?
Yep.
Okay. Well, the points are going to one team, and the team is going to be Critical Mind. Big Idea was, in fact, the production studios that makes VeggieTales. But Tim did stumble into the fact that the Solanum and Cucurbitaceae are the genera of tomatoes and cucumbers.
Yep. As soon as he said Big Idea, I knew that was the right answer. I would never have gotten there, Mike, but I knew it was right there.
VeggieTales, yeah, I know it exists, and I'll keep my opinions about its existence to myself.
Now,
the squash can't make you smile.
Because I am gonna play this like I would at my live game. I did have a team who put VeggieTales, and I gave them half credit for getting part of the way there. So you are going to pick up a point on that one. But full credit is going to Chris and Jeremy.
Well done, guys.
On to our history question. 407 questions ago, I asked you a question about which cat-loving politician who was famous for his speeches utilizing $5 words such as emancipation, divided, and address.
Yeah, Jeremy, let's lock that in.
All right.
Okay, Critical Minds locked in. Talk it out.
Okay, so I assume you guys had the same conversation we did, where it's like,
probably,
this is a trap, right?
Right. It's a trap. It's not a trap. It's a face-off.
because we're like,
found the guy who's seen Guardians. Okay.
Everything says Lincoln. Everything.
Literally everything.
Years, emancipation, address, $5 words. I think we have to go with Lincoln, but
the only thing I don't know is how he felt about cats.
Right.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Buchanan didn't let. Never mind. I'm not going to go there. But sorry, that joke killed. That joke killed with a certain subset of people. Anyway,
I mean, we got to go with Lincoln here, right?
I think we have to. I think we have to. But
we'll lock in with Lincoln.
Okay, so they're locking in with Lincoln.
I'm sorry.
Nope. Don't be sorry. That was an amazing joke with the subset of people who get it.
Meow.
Jeremy and Chris, what did you come up with?
We had kind of a similar conversation. Edit point, Chris, if this is in poor taste, but I said if I had to go see Cats live on Broadway, I'd blow my own brains out.
Yeah, and the best part is that he's not going to edit that because it's going to escape his memory.
It might make the butthole cut, though.
I have hashtag unleash the butthole cut. If you don't know what that's from, just Google the hashtag.
Or don't.
So like, everything here points to Lincoln except for the cats. And I've read a lot about Lincoln in my life. I don't remember an affinity for cats, but Lincoln, it's got to be, right?
We were like, should we just not overthink this and just go Lincoln? Because it feels like a trap. It really does. But everything in this question says Lincoln, except for the cats.
So y'all also locked in with Lincoln?
We did.
Okay, both teams locked in with Abraham Lincoln. Now, before I reveal the answer to this question, let me ask you the question that I asked 87 questions prior to this one. Presidents, they're just like us, except way more famous, powerful, and wealthy, but that's just my 2 cents. Which usually well-loved president was known to bring home any stray cat he found, although I can't honestly speak to how much Mary appreciated this habit.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
does.
It is, in fact, Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
That was inspired by, I went down to Springfield not that long ago, and Rowan, Ward, and I were road tripping together, so we decided while we were in Springfield, do something Springfieldy, so we went to Lincoln's historic home and took the tour, and they talked about how apparently in the front room, Lincoln would wrestle with his 3 boys, but also with any cats that he had found on the street that day, he would just bring home, and Mary would just sit there sewing while this over 6 foot tall giant man just wrestled with cats and boys on the floor. So.
Is that how he wound up in the Wrestling Hall of Fame? By wrestling cats?
Probably. I mean, that sounds right. Anyway, yes, this was in fact Abraham Lincoln. It wasn't a trap. It was, however, I did count out 87 questions from the last Lincoln question I asked and then put it in my account.
That's fantastic. So, but I will say real quick, Tim messaged me while they were talking, goes, "Oh shit, it might be Garfield."
That would have been a fantastic turn of events if it
would
was.
have. It really would have.
All right. Well, your next question is the Toastmaster's choice. Both teams are getting credit for that, by the way. I didn't say it, but you both got it right. The next question is the Toastmaster's choice, which is the question that Dana writes for the game. So thank you, Dana, for this question. Since the 1970s, Iceland has diverted roads to avoid disturbing communities of what creatures? Elves, fairies, leprechauns, unicorns.
Locked.
Okay. Critical Minds locked. Critical Grinding Rolls. Talk it out.
All right, we got to start being a little speedier on our lock-ins there, because we always end up talking it out. No, it's leprechauns is too associated with Ireland. Unicorn is the official animal of Scotland, so I figure it's probably not either one of those.
I feel like fairies are really where I was leaning there. For some reason, I have this thought process of Iceland and fairies. It's really...
I do believe in fairies. So
you want to just go with that one?
That's fine. I don't have anything better. I don't have
with fairies.
Yep.
Okay. Chris and Jeremy.
I can't speak for Jeremy. I feel like I've heard this before, and what's ringing a bell is just the closeness to the North Pole, and so we went with elves.
Yeah, I felt I heard it before too. It came into my head, and I'm like, I don't know why this is the first thing I thought of, but. And then Chris said it could be fairies too, but we both said elves at first, so we're like, 2 minds melding on that. Let's just go. We didn't have much of a thought process behind it besides that.
Okay. Well, I will let you know one team is right, and one team gave the most common wrong answer. from the game. So the points are going to go on this one to Chris and Jeremy. It is in fact elves. Yeah, and to Mike
somewhere.
and Tim's conversation, you know Ireland and Iceland are just a sea away, right?
I'm feeling physical pain right now over that one.
That's the goal.
Uh-huh.
No golf clapping for that. That's a full-on clap for you, Brittany. That was great.
Yeah. So now y'all are getting a taste of what my team's put up with on Tuesdays. But speaking of pain, fashion is pain. Let's go with fashion now. Actually, hopefully this one's fairly
pass.
painless.
Oh,
right.
Referenced in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend by Josh using the hashtag kippaing it real. The kippa is a brimless cap typically worn by Orthodox Jewish males, though it can be worn by women as well. While kippa is the name of the cap in Hebrew, it is perhaps better known by what Yiddish name?
Yeah, I think we can lock that in, Tim.
Okay. Critical Grind Rules is locked in, so Critical Mind, you can talk this one out.
I mean, it's the only Jewish hat I know of is a yarmulke, and it is 100% brimless. I don't know what else it could be.
Yeah, no, we're on the same page. I'm like, what is that thing called that you typed it in while I was trying to think of it? I'm like, yep, that's it.
Mind you, I
exactly
tried to type it in 3 times on my phone, and it kept autocorrecting to Hanukkah. So I finally decided to spell it as Yamaha and change the H to a C. Don't know how to spell it, but yarmulke is our answer.
Okay. So locked in with yarmulke. Mike and Tim, what did you lock in with?
The only reason I do know how to spell it is because of the liner notes to Adam Sandler's second album, which was the one that featured the Hanukkah song. But yeah, we also locked in with yarmulke.
All right. Well, both teams are picking up the credit for that one because, especially in a verbal medium, spelling does not count. But yeah, it is yarmulke. However, it is also called a keppel or a koppel in Yiddish, so I did accept both of those answers as well, though no one gave that as an answer. But I did learn that it, while most commonly called yarmulke, it is also called a keppel or a koppel. So that's the fashion question. Your next one is business. And personally, this one was just a serendipitous moment for me, but I loved asking about it. So, in business. By acquiring PepsiCo's fast food division in 1997, Yum Brands was able to create and perfect the Kintaco Hut, a veritable Frankenstein's monster of a fast food joint. What 3 fast food franchises make up the Kintaco Hut?
Yeah, we're in agreement, so let's just lock in.
All right.
Okay. Critical Grind's locked in. Critical Mind, talk it out.
Oh, Ken. I heard Quinn. Okay. I'm glad it's written out here. No, it's Ken Taco Hut is going to be Kentucky Fried Chicken, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut. I heard Quinn, so I was going Quiznos. I'm like, I don't think Quiznos is owned by them, but
I heard Quinn too. I was like, what starts with a QUI? So that was where our discussion started. And then, now that we see how it's typed out, yes, no, I 100% agree. KFC or Kentucky Fried Chicken, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut.
We used to have one restaurant here that was all 3, so it literally might have been called Taco Hut, but KFC, not Kentucky Fried Chicken. I think their name is just KFC now. But KFC, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut.
Okay, and Mike and Tim?
Yeah, we locked in with the same KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut.
Yeah. I was originally researching a question to figure out when the first Taco Bell Pizza Hut came out, or was franchised, and then I ran into something called a Kintaco Hut, and I was like, well, there's no way I'm not asking about this now. So it is, in fact, KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut.
It's a turducken of fast food.
In many ways. Your next category is literature. Robin Goodfellow, sometimes called Hobgoblin, is the full name of which playful imp from the Shakespearean comedy? In Neil Gaiman's The Sandman, he appears in a performance of his source work, though I doubt the show was put on at a hockey rink.
We can lock.
You said Hobgoblin. I'm like, all right, a Marvel Comics question. I got this.
So are you good with that, Chris?
I don't even know what you said, but I'm just going to pop my beer and say yes. I have no idea.
So I was partially sure because I asked a question about this a long time ago at a live show, but then when you said hockey, I was 100% sure that this is puck.
Okay, so Jeremy and Chris locking in with puck. Mike and Tim, what did you lock in with?
Mike, you could talk it out. You locked it in before the hockey.
Before I got pissed off by the hockey thing that yeah, absolutely. Around the time of Playful Imp, I was already typing puck to Tim. So yes, we also locked in with puck.
The Midsummer Night's Dream.
It is Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yep.
So yeah, in the Sandman, Puck and the other fairies do a performance of A Midsummer Night's Dream, and then I believe, if I read it correctly, Puck decides to become mortal instead of staying like an immortal fairy type thing. So
Puck is about the only non-title character in Shakespeare that I can name, and that's only because I think one of the main characters in the show, Eureka, played Puck in an early episode where they were doing a take on Midsummer.
okay.
I was Oberon in a 7th or 8th grade production of Midsummer Night's Dream, and really upset that I didn't get to be Bottom because he has the best lines.
Was that Fargo? I'm trying to remember that episode now from Eureka.
Probably. I mean, it sounds like a Fargo thing.
No. It was his daughter who played Puck.
Oh right. Yeah, Zoe played Puck because, they didn't have enough boys or so. She's like, I got the role of Puck, and I think her dad was like, what?
I remember this now. Yes, yeah. I need to rewatch this show. I love Eureka.
Yeah.
So nothing required Puck to be male.
Well, both teams picking up credit on that one, and that means we're to our geography question. And if you thought you hated that one, Mike, wait till you get this one. I'm just kidding. No hockey mentions in this one. With its headwaters at Lake Itasca in north central Minnesota, what river whose name starts with MISS and in Ojibwe means Great River flows for 2,340 miles and is the second longest river in North America?
I think we're good to lock in.
Okay. Mike and Tim, you can talk it out.
So...
Sorry, Tim, did I make you think too much?
No, I think you've actually got it backwards. I think that the Missouri is actually a longer river, or there is something that is longer than the Mississippi.
Okay.
I can't remember if it's the Missouri or if it's another river further out west. But see, and here's the other thing: the Mississippi River flows pretty much north-south.
That was my big hang-up, is I didn't think the Missouri River was that far north.
The Missouri comes in from the west, and I
think
this is going to be the Mississippi. I think Brittany is writing a question that makes us want to switch to Missouri, but it's actually the obvious Mississippi, I think.
Okay. I mean, I'm completely fine with that. I know geography is literally just bodies of water. We have established that many times on this podcast. That's a throwback. That's a throwback to a really old episode. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm notoriously bad with geography, particularly bodies of water. But that was my gut. But if you think that makes more sense, and that was my main hesitation, is I didn't think the Missouri was that far north. So I'm happy to go with Mississippi.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the Missouri comes in around Missouri. I don't think it comes that far north. So,
and honestly, I think Great River that for some reason makes me think that of the Mississippi as opposed to Missouri too. So
okay, so yeah, we'll say Mississippi.
Okay, locked in with Mississippi. Chris and Jeremy, what did you lock in with?
I'm mad because they talked wrong into a correct answer. The Missouri River actually starts further north. It actually starts up in Montana, which is further north than the Mississippi River starts. So by saying further north, no, it's the Mississippi River. I'm going to pop my beer now because.
Okay. What are you drinking now?
Not a political statement, but should be. I just had one left in the fridge. I got myself Bud Light.
Okay. So to be clear, Chris, when I think of things start east and flow west. I wasn't necessarily thinking of which way it flows, but you're right.
All right. Well, both teams, no matter if your logic was correct or not, got there. It is, in fact, the Mississippi River. And our next question is in music. So your music question. What singer-songwriter from Brooklyn was the house musician on NPR's Ask Me Another and is known for his cruises? He's also famous for songs like IKEA, I Feel Fantastic, Code Monkey, and The 1st of May.
Yeah, we can, Chris, if you're okay with it, we can lock in right away.
One of us can, yeah.
Jesus, Tim, I was trying to type out his whole name, and you wrote the 4 letters, and I'm like, "Yep, we're thinking of the same dang thing." Yeah,
As soon as she started talking about NPR, I had this, and then Cruises confirmed it, and then Code Monkey just nerfed it for me.
IKEA was it for me.
This is Jonathan Colton.
100%.
And Jeremy and Chris, what'd you say?
Absolutely, it's Joko, Jonathan Colton.
Yep, Jonathan Colton is correct. I don't think any of my teams got it at my live game, and it made me kind of sad because I was
At
like,
the
I
Geek
love
Cafe,
Jonathan.
they didn't know Jonathan Colton?
Apparently not.
That
I was like,
hurts
yeah.
my heart.
And I didn't do a lot of research into this, but maybe y'all just know he does his cruises like on Lake Michigan, right?
No, he does it
No.
like it's in the. It's
like
Pacific
it's an
Ocean, I
actual
think.
cruise.
Yeah, it's an actual
okay.
cruise.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the Joko cruise crazy. I have not been on it. Jay has.
Yes.
But I mean, he has a song about the holiday that just passed, the 1st of May.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I suggest everybody listen to that song without their kids around.
That's exactly what I suggested.
He does a great cover of the Still Alive from Portal 1.
That's his song. It's not a cover.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, he wrote the song, and then they did the GLaDOS voice for the game.
Okay.
And then he also has the one from Portal 2.
I didn't. I knew he wrote the one from Portal 2. I didn't know he wrote the one from Portal 1. I guess I should have made that association.
Still Alive, and he does there was something. Oh,
Now I only want you gone.
With Paul and Storm, so that's why I know Joko a lot.
I got to see him live at PAX East in 2013. It was Paul and Storm opened, and then Joko. I know Chris is falling asleep over there, so.
All right, we are, to quote Chris, moving right along to question number 10, which is in games. So, in games, what 73-year-old game featuring characters like Grandma Nut, the Duke of Swirl, and Fluffy Puffer became the subject of one of the first internet domain legal disputes in 1996 when Hasbro filed for an injunction because an adult company had purchased the domain. They were granted the injunction as the trademark game name was ruled legally owned by Hasbro.
Locked in.
Okay.
We're going to need some questions that Jeremy and Chris don't know so that we can make up some ground here.
Right.
But yeah, I'm 100% on you with this one, Mike.
Yeah. We're locking in with Candyland.
Okay. And Jeremy and Chris?
While the porn company that owned it probably also had characters named Grandma Nut, Duke of Swirl, and Fluffy Puffer. Yeah, we also locked in with Candyland.
Okay. 2 locks of Candyland were the right locks. So, that is Candyland. Both teams picking up the points on that one. And we're at the end of round 1. And normally I don't give a score update till the half, but since I'm tracking your points in live time, Critical Mind has 20 points, while Critical Grind and Rolls has 17. But you both got the 1 up, so that means your scores are actually 18 and 21 right now.
One of us can legally drink.
Hey, trivia lovers. Want to get the pub trivia experience in an interactive way? Check out Liquid Courage Entertainment. With a wide range of offerings online, LK has you covered, streaming a wide variety of trivia games on Twitch with one-of-a-kind formats like Tringo, Guesstimate, Mega Sheep, and more. Or check out the World Trivia Federation. With 36 hours to answer each quiz and no obligation, the WTF is the perfect solution to scratch that trivia itch on your own time. Come see us at twitch.tv/liquid_courage or check out patreon.com/liquidcourage to join the WTF for as little as $2 a month. That's Liquid Courage with a K. Innovative, interactive, intoxicating.
So round 2 is normally an audio round, but since this is a podcast and we're not going to even risk your status with playing the music, I'm going to Shatnerize the lyrics to some Weird Al songs. So for each of these, here's what I need you to do. I need you to tell me what Weird Al song it is by the Weird Al title, and then I need you to give me the name of the artist that he's parodying in the song.
So are you going to give us lyrics?
I'm going to give you lyrics.
What the song is, and then
yes.
and
then which artist he parodied for that song.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. The first one. I'm going to Shatnerize these, so I apologize in advance. Okay. walking down the shopping aisles, filling up my basket with Oscar Mayer. Never gonna stop, eat it up. Such a tasty snack. I always eat too much and throw up, but soon I'll be back.
We're locked in.
Yeah, we'll lock.
All right, Jeremy and Chris.
I'm thinking because I know the song. I'm trying to remember who it's a parody of.
So this isn't "Eat It" by Michael Jackson?
I don't think so. Because I was thinking this was a hardware store, and I'm trying to remember who it's parodying because my brain isn't working right now.
Filling up my basket with Oscar Mayer.
Oh no! Hold on. I in my head when she was saying it, I totally went to a different song. This is My Bologna.
Oh, Sharona. I don't know who sings that song.
I will mention, I don't think I said it in the intro. This round, it's 1 point for the song title, 1 point for the artist.
I keep forgetting we can talk out loud. I was like typing out who I think the artist is to you. As we're talking it out loud, I think it's the Knack.
Music is up there with chemistry for me, dude. If you think if you've got a knack for that, let's go with it.
All right, we're gonna go My Bologna, and they're parodying the Knack.
Okay, and Tim and Mike?
Walking down the shopping aisle, filling up my basket with Oscar Mayer. Yeah, this is My Bologna, a parody of My Sharona by the Knack. And now I'm mad that you put the lyrics in the chat.
I would have called that the Oscar Mayer piece already. So
yeah, what I heard the walking down the aisles or whatever, and I'm trying to remember the hardware, the song Hardware Store, and I'm like, that's where my head went. And I blanked out the rest of the question.
It's really funny, Jeremy, because my head went to Hardware Store either, but then I went, these are parodies, and that's an original.
Oh, that's why I couldn't remember who he was parodying in that song.
Yep.
He wasn't parodying.
Because he wasn't.
Yep.
All right. Okay, well, this one is, in fact, My Bologna, and it is a parody of My Sharona by the Knack. So your second one. There's a suitcase poking me in the ribs. There's an elbow in my ear. There's a smelly old bum standing next to me. Hasn't showered in a year. I think I'm missing a contact lens. I think my wallet's gone.
Yeah, we're locked in.
Okay. Chris and Jeremy?
Yeah. This one I picked up right away. This is Another One Rides the Bus, which would be a parody of Another One Bites the Dust by Queen.
Okay. Wait, what did you say the title of the song was?
Another One Rides the Bus.
Okay. And Tim and Mike?
Yeah, we said the same thing. Another One Rides the Bus, parody of Another One Bites the Dust by Queen.
All right. Both of you are correct. So picking up points for that. Number 3. Well, I knew I was in trouble now. My hope of winning sank. 'Cause I got the daily double now. And then my mind went blank.
Yeah, we can lock in.
Jeremy, I know the song. I have no idea what that's. I didn't know that was a parody.
No, it is a parody, and shit.
I'm sorry. you got saddled with a terrible music player. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just I know it's a parody of it. It's obviously it's absolutely I Lost on Jeopardy, and I think the song it's parodying is called Jeopardy. I cannot for the life of me remember the name of the band.
What year range?
The song is just called Jeopardy that it's a parody of.
Is it a song from the 90s, 80s, 70s?
Probably early 80s would be my guess. Early to mid 80s. Like I said, it's a parody of the song Jeopardy. I don't know who sings it though. Or do we need to know to tell you? We do need to tell you.
Yeah, we have to say who sang the original and what the name of the song is.
No, it's I Lost on Jeopardy, but I don't know who does the song Jeopardy. That I do know it is a parody of. It is not coming to me.
Is it? Do you know? Is it like if it's 80s? Is it hair metal? Is it pop? Is it synth? What is it exactly?
Like synth pop. I mean, just like the song. I mean, it's a direct parody of it, but
male or female singer? I'm trying to narrow it down.
I'm pretty sure it's male.
So that wouldn't be someone like Billy Idol.
No, that's more punk. I really have nothing for the artist. I mean, if you say it, maybe it'll ring something, but I got nothing. I don't even have a guess.
I'm just trying to think of any, like a synth pop male artist from the 80s or period. And I don't, like, everyone I know is female.
I go Duran. I know it's not right,
That's
but
fine.
All right.
Okay, so what are you locking in with?
It's I Lost on Jeopardy is the song. It's a parody of Jeopardy, but we're just going to say Duran is the artist. I can't remember who it is.
Okay, Tim and Mike?
So it's definitely going to be late 70s, early 80s because the parody actually predates the revival with Alex Trebek because it's talking about
which is why Art Fleming gave the answers.
Yeah, Art Fleming is the host
you're right.
in the song.
Right.
And I think 84 is when Jeopardy came back with Alex Trebek.
Right.
So we both knew immediately it was I Lost on Jeopardy, but Mike pulled the band.
Well, and yeah, it's a difficult band to pull because, quite frankly, they don't write them like that anymore, which was another hit from the Greg Kine band.
And Mike and Tim getting full credit on that. It is the Greg Kine band, and it is I Lost on Jeopardy. And yes, I kind of had to put that in my round. So
of course,
hey,
critical mind picking up 1 point.
Zing.
So
why Brittany?
Oh, because I lost on Jeopardy, Tim.
Baby, to a plumber and an architect. Sorry.
Well, to a business, a social worker, and an author, but same diff.
Both with a PhD.
Yeah,
that was a good pull. Seriously, I know it now. When you say it, I'm like, yeah, that's absolutely right. When you said it, I'm like, I was never gonna pull that.
All right, your next one, number 4. You better listen, better do what you're told. Woo. You haven't even touched your tuna casserole. Ooh. You better chow down or it's gonna get cold.
Locked in.
I know.
Jeremy and Chris.
I'm gonna let Chris answer this one because
no, I have a bad
he's all...
answering layups.
All right, well then I will if you want. No, this is absolutely Eat It, and it's a parody of Michael Jackson's Beat It.
Okay, Tim and Mike.
Yeah, so after about 2 words, Mike and I both said Eat It, and if you've watched Weird, the Al Yankovic movie, this is not a Michael Jackson parody. Michael Jackson parodied this song with Beat It. But no, it's definitely Eat It, and it's Michael Jackson.
You are both correct.
Still need to watch that movie, but I don't have Roku TV or whatever it is. Like...
Oh God, it's free. Just download it.
Oh, is it? Okay, I didn't know.
Oh yeah, it's totally free. Yep.
All right, number 5. Now I'm mumbling, and I'm screaming, and I don't know what I'm singing. Crank the volume, ears are bleeding. I still don't know what I'm singing. Jeremy and Chris are already locked in, so Mike and Tim, you get to talk this one out.
This one's fun because the artist is in the title.
We didn't know you could do that. We were waiting for you to get all your words out. But yeah, this is definitely Smells Like Nirvana, parodying Nirvana.
Okay, Jeremy and Chris.
So in the Boozy Bracketology episode where we counted down the best song by the band Nirvana, episode 1, I sang this song because I love the song. It's so fun. It is Smells Like Nirvana by Nirvana.
All right. So here's question 6. Hitching up the buggy, churning lots of butter, raised a barn. On Monday soon, I'll raise another. Think you're really righteous, think you're pure. In Hartwell, I know I'm a million times as humble as thou art.
We're locked in.
Okay. Jeremy and Chris.
You don't want to go with the infamous artist Kulop?
Chris's autocorrect is on a roll tonight. Well, yeah, no, this is absolutely Amish Paradise, which is a parody of Gangsta's Paradise by Coolio, not Coolop.
Which
and
itself samples Pastime Paradise by Stevie Wonder. So we
Which
have
it does.
we have parodyception here or whatever.
I think at this point, Mike and I are just playing against each other to see who can type it in faster and on fewer words.
Tim
I
is
had
winning.
this off Hitchin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got hung up for a second between the Hitch and maybe it was Kubrick. I wasn't entirely sure if that was going. I know. I'm sorry. One per cast.
This is
All right.
This is definitely our official answer. Coolio, Amish Paradise.
Yep.
All right. Both teams picking up full credit on that one. Question number 7. We all fought in that epic war, and it wasn't long at all before little Hotshot flew his plane and saved the day. And in the end, some Gungans died, some ships blew up, and some pilots fried.
We can lock in.
Go ahead,
A lot
Mike,
of
I've taken the last
folks
two.
were croaking. The battle droids were broken.
We're broken.
So, fun story. The original song "American Pie" by Don McLean, we actually launched into a random rendition of that in high school, and I was amazed at how many of us knew all of the words to the original American Pie. That was a couple years before The Saga Begins came out. Not to date myself too much, but anyway, yeah, we locked in with The Saga Begins, and the original artist was Don McLean.
Okay, and Jeremy and Chris.
Yeah, the exact same thing. As soon as you started, I'm like, it's The Saga Begins, and it's a parody of American Pie by Don McLean.
Both teams getting full credit on that one. Did I think it was going to take you that many lyrics? No. Did I have more lyrics than that? Yes, but
Absolutely.
I also was like, I'm editing this on the fly. So, number 8. I'll buy your tchotchkes, sell me your watch, please. I'll buy. I'll buy. I'm highest bidder.
Locked in.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Jeremy
I
and
can
Chris?
unmute and talk.
Jeremy, is this? I don't know what the name of this is. Obviously, the Backstreet Boys, but is it?
Yeah,
is it just
it's a
eBay or
parody of I Want
bought
It That Way.
But is the song just eBay or is it I bought it on eBay?
No, it's eBay. eBay is the song, and then it's a parody of I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys.
Okay.
And that's what we're locking in with. Yep.
Okay. Chris and Mike. Or sorry, Mike and Tim.
Tell me why we can't make up any distance. Sorry. Go ahead, Tim.
I had this off of I'll Buy.
Yeah,
This
right.
is 100% eBay by the Backstreet Boys.
All right. Yeah, it's absolutely eBay. Parody of I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys. And we're moving on to number 9. And yeah, no, Tim Spinks says PTE host. I'm used to that being Chris's name, so that's why I said Chris and Mike. So, number 9. At Pascal. Well, I'm number 1 do vector calculus just for fun. I ain't got a gat, but I got a soldering gun. What happy days is my favorite theme song.
Oh yeah, we're locked in.
Okay. Jeremy and Chris?
Yeah, we're oh crap. I know it's white and nerdy.
It's
Chameleonaire?
Chameleonaire, right?
Yeah, Chameleonaire, I think.
Is it? Oh my god, I've been saying his name wrong since that song came out. It's not Chameleonaire, it's Chameleonaire. Okay.
I might be saying it wrong because I mispronounce things every once in a while. As Brittany just trying not to laugh.
I don't think I've ever heard his name out loud, so I've always assumed the CH was a sh, not a K. Okay. Yeah, we're in the same place though.
So locking in?
Yep.
Okay. You want to say your answer officially that you're locking in with?
Oh, yeah, it's White and Nerdy, which is a parody of Riding by Chameleonaire.
Okay. Tim and Mike.
Yeah, this is white and nerdy, and to make a How I Met Your Mother reference, this is Chameleonaire, Chameleonaire.
Yeah, chameleonaire.
I'll admit, Chris, I have said chameleonaire every year since I heard this. It is in fact White and Nerdy by Chameleonaire. I don't know if that's how you say it, but that's how I'm going to say it because
No, it's chameleonaire. And when I finally heard it for the first time, I was like, oh, I get it. Oh, that's kind of clever. Cool.
I want to be a millionaire so freaking bad.
I think
Karma,
actually,
chameleonaire.
I think actually I was on this episode of Beard Owl podcast.
nice.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So it is actually chameleonaire. I just looked it up. I definitely said chameleonaire when I presented this game to my players, and no one corrected me. So we are at the last Let's Get Weird question. So I've figured out these shadow organizations, and the Illuminati know that they're finally primed for world domination.
Locked in.
I was just about to say to Tim, I finally beat you to the punch because I typed artist first, and while you were typing the song title first.
This one took me about 6 words. I think I had to get to shadow before I had this one.
Oh.
So you actually challenged
He cracked the
me for a
code.
second. It was Foil by Lord.
Okay. And Jeremy and Chris?
Yeah, we have the exact same thing, foil. It is not Miley Cyrus, though. It is definitely Lord.
I am Lord. Yeah. I am Lord.
He literally sent that like right before. I had sent it in Miley Cyrus, and right before he said no, it's Foil, and I'm like, okay, locked in. Thank God.
Now,
Okay. You said Foil and Lord, right? Not
Yes,
Foil and Miley
foil
Cyrus?
and Lord. It's not
Okay.
Miley Cyrus.
Okay.
Just making that distinction.
Gotcha. All right, yeah. And so you've got black helicopters coming across the border, puppet masters for the New World Order. Be aware, there's always someone that's watching you. Yeah, this is absolutely Foil. My favorite verse from the song out of the two
yeah.
that are available. And I am protected because I made this hat from aluminum foil, and it is Foil by Lord.
Although, if I may, his Miley Cyrus parody features one of my favorite Weird Al lyrics of all time, which is, we only torture the folks we don't like. You're probably going to be okay. It's brilliant. I love that line. It's a party.
Yeah. So both teams did really well on that. And shout out to the Beard Owl podcast, because I did, in fact, consult Lauren Carey on her picks for the quintessential Weird Al. In case y'all wonder why I just randomly popped in there with a, hey, what would you consider to be like the top 10 Weird Al songs? But then I decided I kind of had to use I Lost on Jeopardy. And we decided to go with parodies only, just for the purposes of keeping the trivia consistent.
And we're okay with that, because that was the only place we made up points.
I am legitimately happy Jeremy sent that right before I hit locked in. It's not even funny.
He goes, Miley Cyrus. I'm like, no.
It's because he thought at first it was Party in the CIA, not.
Yeah.
So after 2 rounds, we have a score of Critical Mind with 40 points total, and Critical Grind and Rolls with 38 points total. So with Critical Grind and Rolls going perfect on the Weird Al round, and Critical Mind only missing the artist on 1 song. So really strong round from both teams, and we are going to do our little fast. I'm going to give you the 10 questions from this handout called Was the Book Better? Really? Okay, so I'm going to give you the name of a movie. You need to tell me what classic literary work it's based on. For my teams, this would be matching. For y'all, it's just going to be, I'm going to give you the movie and you give me the literature adaptation. So your first one is Apocalypse Now.
Do you need author or just work?
Just the work.
We can lock in.
Okay. Chris and Jeremy can talk it out.
Jeremy, that sounds right. I don't know for a fact, but that does sound right.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not a different war movie around the same time that's based on the same thing, but I believe this is Heart of Darkness. So that's what we locked in. That's what we're going to lock in with.
Mike and 10?
That's the same thing we locked in with, was Heart of Darkness.
Okay. And it is, in fact, Heart of Darkness. So Both teams picking that one up.
And on a semi-related note, I did pop another beer. You might have heard the pop a little bit during the Weird Al thing, but I did want to give it a shout out from the Pipeworks Brewing Company. This is the Petrified Forest Oak India Pale Ale. Very good IPA. I enjoy it a lot. And this is another 4-pack that I'm killing. So it's a momentous night.
Your second one is Warm Bodies.
Okay, we can lock in.
Okay, Jeremy and Chris are locked in. Mike and Tim?
I don't know that we're going to get this, Mike.
Yeah.
I know that this is that movie where I think she's in love with a zombie, or the zombie's in love with her, or something. With a knockoff Cedric Diggory, whatever the actor's name is.
Robert Pattinson?
That one. It's like Wish Robert Pattinson in it. But I didn't know it was based off a book.
I never saw the movie. I vaguely remember its existence. I mean,
a zombie's in love with me.
my immediate thought is to give a shout out to friend of the show, Isabella Drake, who has written a couple of books related to that are zombie erotica. But that's,
right,
I mean, I'm pretty sure those books all came out after Warm Bodies. And it would be like Queen of the Undead was what they had. So like, I don't know. They're laughing, so we might be way off in what we're talking about here.
All right, we're laughing at our chat. Don't pay no attention to us.
They're still laughing at Wish Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair. That's fair.
I got nothing.
I got nothing. Queen of the Undead. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Jeremy and Chris, what did you lock in with?
I'm going to say this part out loud just because I'll let Chris lock it in if he wants. But if anything, Robert Pattinson is a Wish Nicholas Hoult.
Yes.
I was like, we're not going to besmirch Nicholas Hoult.
No. Which is ironic because they were the number 1 and number 2 choices for the Batman, and Pattinson somehow beat Nicholas Hoult out for that. So the book itself, real quick, we had a fake book club when I was working a while ago. This is like 10 years ago. But it was me and a woman who sat next to me at work, and we had a fake book club. So we started with the Hunger Games. We went through all 4 of the Hunger Games books. Then we moved on to Warm Bodies. And after we got through Warm Bodies, we always kind of like read a couple chapters, talk about it. I'm like, Michelle, what do you want to read next? She goes, well, a friend of mine is telling me all these great things about a book. And she says it's wonderful and I really should read it. Do you want to read it with me? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll read it for you. I'm like, what is it? She goes, it's called 50 Shades of Grey.
I heard you talk about this before. I think this is amazing.
Like, Mish, I am not reading that with you. I am a married man. You read that on your own. No, the actual book is just called Warm Bodies.
Okay, but it's still an adaptation of. So that book is based on another piece of literature. I did not realize there was a book just called Warm Bodies.
The book Warm Bodies.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too.
The movie it's literally almost beat for beat the book Warm Bodies. The only big difference is they added more comedy to. Is it Rob Corddry? Is that his character? The guy acting? They added more comedy to the secondary zombie.
Yeah, right. I'm seeing what they're saying is accurate. I think I know, looking up now, what answer you were looking for, Brittany, but it is based off of Warm Bodies.
Yeah, so I am going to give you the points for it because in the matching version of this, that was not an option, and therefore you would have had to give me the classic literature adaptation. However, given this format, I am going to give you the credit for it because Warm Bodies is inspired by Romeo and Juliet. The book is inspired, and then the movie was adapted based off the book, but it was based off Romeo and Juliet. For the record, so were Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey.
So is The Lion King 2.
And so is West Side Story. So lots of stuff based on Romeo and Juliet. Is it about 2 lovers that are seemingly on the opposite side of a thing? It's Romeo and Juliet.
Which itself was based anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so I am going to give you the points for that. I was looking for Romeo and Juliet, but since you don't have the list of possible answers, that's a fair cop. So, number 3 is Clueless. And I will say if that situation does come up again, if it's the movie's based off a book of the same name, I need what that book is based off of. So
that's fair.
Yeah. So
if it makes you feel any better, I would have guessed Romeo and Juliet because it's the only classic literature that fits that I could think of.
Jeremy, want to lock that in?
Yeah. As soon as you said it, that's absolutely what it is. So we can lock in.
Okay, Jeremy and Chris are locked in. Tim and Mike.
The funny thing about this one is there was also a Gwyneth Paltrow movie that came out not too far after Clueless that was more of a literal adaptation of Jane Austen's Emma, but I'm pretty sure Clueless was an adaptation of Emma.
Okay, we've got an Emma lock in. Jeremy and Chris, what did you say?
I did not know that Gwyneth Paltrow's version was the same as an adaptation of this. When I hear Clueless, I automatically go to Emma. So.
Okay, and Emma it is. So both teams picking up credit there. Number 4 is 10 Things I Hate About You.
Jeremy, I like your version better.
Yeah, we can go with that.
We'll lock in.
Okay, Mike and Tim are locked in. Jeremy and Chris?
Well, we both had autocorrect fails on this one.
Oh, I want to know.
Oh my God. I didn't realize my autocorrect failure. Oh my God. So we're going to combine our two of Taming Eyed the Shrew and Taking of the Shrew and just go with Taming of the Shrew.
Okay. Taming of the Shrew is your locked in answer, Tim and Mike?
I would have laughed even harder if you had like Taming of the Shrek.
I thought it was going to be like Taming of the Screw or something when you said.
But yeah, we both went, fuck, this is a Shakespeare one. Taming of the Shrew at the same time. So we both said Taming of the Shrew.
Okay, well that is in fact correct. So well done. Number 5 is She's the Man.
Yeah, we can lock that in. We can lock in.
Okay, Mike and Tim are locked in. Jeremy and Chris, you can talk it out.
I'm almost positive that's right, Jeremy.
Okay. Yeah, this is not like the last one. I was in between Taming of the Shrew and Much Ado About Nothing on this one. I was pretty sure it's Twelfth Night, and I was trying to rack my brain for the other Shakespeare play I was thinking of, but when I typed in Twelfth Night, he said yes, and so that's what we're going to go with, Twelfth Night.
Yeah, it sounds right.
Okay, Tim and Mike?
Well, in fairness, Twelfth Night is far from the only Shakespeare play in which a woman dresses up like a man, but it is in fact the one that She's the Man is based upon. Yeah, that's what we locked in with as well, or what you will.
Yep, Twelfth Night is what it's based on. Number 6 is A Knight's Tale.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and lock in.
Okay, Jeremy and Chris are locked in.
Mike, I am okay. Okay, so yes, Chaucer is a character in this movie.
Paul Bettany's character is Chaucer. Is it based on Canterbury Tales?
Yes, I am fairly certain it's based on Canterbury Tales. I wrote a quiz on this several months ago for the Perfect 10 Pop quiz that I do, and I'm pretty sure that it's based on Canterbury Tales because it's Chaucer is a character, but he's basically writing Canterbury Tales.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of a circular thing, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Canterbury Tales.
And I'm okay with locking that in as long as I'm allowed to tell one of my favorite stories from high school, which is we each had to present, not each of us, but like in groups, we had to present one of the Canterbury Tales, and I couldn't tell you which one it was, but one of my best friends walks up and he's trying to describe one of the characters, and he goes, basically, he's a really horny bastard in front of like everybody, in front of the whole class and teachers and everybody. So, okay, but I'm fine with that. We can lock in with the Canterbury Tales.
Yeah.
Okay, and Jeremy and Chris?
I feel better about our answer now because I was remembering that he was Chaucer, but at the same time, it was like, I'm pretty sure that's the Knight's Tale from the Canterbury Tales. That's kind of what they were basing it on. So we said the Canterbury Tales as well.
All right, and both teams picking up the point on this one. Now, I am going to preface this next one with, this is one where critics are saying it's an adaptation. It hasn't been officially called an adaptation, but I found a lot of sources where critics consider it an adaptation of this work. So just also prefacing that for any listeners who may be like, there's nothing official about that. I know, but it's very, it's very critically considered to be an adaptation of this. So the work in question that I need to know what it's an adaptation of is August Rush.
All right, we'll lock in.
Okay. Jeremy and Chris, you can talk it out.
I mean, maybe. Yeah, I'm trying to
that's where
remember the
my
movie
head
itself.
is
The movie's
going.
about an orphan, but I thought the movie was about an orphan, like musical, like a prodigy.
Yeah, and it's a musical. So when I think orphan and musical, I think of two, and that would be either Annie or Oliver.
Okay.
And if it's based off of work,
Oliver Twist makes sense.
I'm thinking Oliver Twist would be what they would turn into a musical because there is one.
She did classic literature, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, because my original thought was like being that it is about a musical prodigy, I was wondering if there were maybe like autobiographies about, not Beethoven, but like Mozart or Chopin. That they
Not
might
that
have
I think would be
into,
considered
it wouldn't, if
classical
it's classic literature, it wouldn't be that. So Oliver Twist is our best bet.
I mean, that's just, again, just reasoning out what we're looking at. I mean, I've seen August Rush and the basic themes. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could see critics thinking the same thing, maybe. So I'd say just go with it. We'll go Oliver Twist.
Works for me.
And Tim and Mike, what'd you say?
We didn't have much thunder behind it, but that was the first thing that popped into our head as well. So we just locked in with Oliver Twist.
It is Oliver Twist.
On a side note, can you guys miss something?
Right? See, Tim, now you know how Jeff and I felt when we were on your 2022 year in review trivia.
Who
let's see how
invited
this
Jeremy anyway?
Right.
Let's see how this one shakes out. Bridget Jones's Diary.
All right, we'll lock in.
Okay. Jeremy and Chris, you can talk it out.
So all I've got right now is it's probably something from Jane Austen, but that could be a few things. I would think somewhere between Sense and Sensibility or Pride and Prejudice, as they're very similar.
I thought the book was called Bridget Jones's Diary.
It probably is, but it's probably this is one of those
questioning us for earlier, where the book itself is inspired by another work. I know I'm almost positive the book is based off of. It's called Bridget Jones's Diary.
But we need to go back further.
I wouldn't know. I have no idea there.
All right. Do I have a coin?
Sensibility or
I'd say Sense, Sensibility or Pride and Prejudice.
Zombies, you pick.
Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. Shoot. I don't have a coin.
The Sense and Sensibility seems to make. Oh no, Pride and Prejudice might make more sense.
All right. Let's just go with it. Go ahead.
Sure.
Fine. If it makes more sense, go for it. I've seen the movie one time, so
I've seen Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies more than I have seen Pride and Prejudice. So, hey.
So, what are you locking in with?
I guess Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, okay. And Tim and Mike?
Yeah. We were really hoping they'd go the wrong way on that one. I'm not 100% sure it's Pride and Prejudice. I'm 100% sure it's not Sense and Sensibility. We did lock in with Pride and Prejudice.
What about Sense, Sensibility, and Sea Monsters? Could it be that?
It could be.
Could be.
Well, the movie literally had a Mr. Darcy in it. It is Pride and Prejudice.
I didn't absolutely
remember
did.
That part. That's funny.
A Mr. Darcy who had played Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice on a BBC version. Yeah.
Yeah, because Colin Firth was in it.
Yep. Hat tip to my wife for that one.
Yeah, my wife watches those all the time, and she's read the books, and like I know a little bit about them through osmosis. I've seen most of the movies because they're on.
We're just sitting here in chat going, "Fuck these guys."
Yep, we are.
Go the wrong way. Shut up, Chris.
All right. Exactly. Well, let's see what happens with number 9 when I tell you to give me the adaptation of what John Tucker Must Die was adapted from.
Yeah, lock that in, Jeremy. I'm good with it.
All right, we'll lock in.
Okay, especially if you think that's
the yeah. If you think that's the plot. All right.
So I said to Tim, like, I vaguely remember this movie existing. And I think he's like he two times a bunch of women and they conspire to kill him. But do they set him up with another girl or
I've never seen it. I
haven't seen it either.
I can tell you he is a movie.
Yeah. So I jokingly said, and then he said, lock it in. I'm like, I don't know if I'm quite ready to lock that in, but I jokingly said, okay, well, I'm pretty sure there's like 3 women that he's 2-timing. So 3 people show up to kill him. Maybe it's Julius Caesar. I don't know. Like maybe one of them is, brute. It was something that sounds vaguely like Brutus. I don't know. I don't freaking know.
I've got nothing on this one, dude.
I have absolutely nothing on this one.
Do you want to say it?
I feel like there's something where I think they set him up with another girl, and maybe I'm conflating multiple movies. I have nothing. I'm fine with locking in with, as ridiculous of an answer it is, I'm fine with locking in with Julius Caesar. All
right, we'll do that.
Okay, locked in with Julius Caesar. Jeremy and Chris, what did you come up with?
Well, Chris, if they're right, I'm going to be really mad. At myself, because Chris's initial thing was Julius Caesar, ? And then I started listing out plays based on not John Tucker Must Die. Or no, not John Tucker. What was the one? John Dies at the End is what we thought we were talking about.
This was John Dies at the End. I'm like, well, John Dies at the End I thought was at least loosely inspired by Julius Caesar, because at the end of the movie, John has to die. That's not John Tucker Must Die. So the rest of the film doesn't fit into the scope of Julius Caesar.
Right. And he was saying about how this exact same thing, how he's two-timing like different women. And then I was down to, he's basically said love triangle. And I'm like, well, that leads me to think of either Merry Wives of Windsor or Much Ado About Nothing. But then Chris goes, isn't Much Ado About Nothing more of a love square, which it is. And Merry Wives of Windsor is the story about Falstaff having money woes. So he seduces wealthy businessmen's wives, and they all find out about it. So that's what we locked in with. I have no idea if it's right, so we're going to go Merry Wives of Windsor.
Okay. Well, I had told them while you were gone, Mike, that if you got back and agreed, I would give you the author of the work. But they're like, I don't think that would help. So you both named Shakespeare plays, and it is a Shakespeare play. And it is The Merry Wives of Windsor.
God. We had probably more chatter about this than like any other question tonight. Like, screw it.
That's one of the Shakespeare plays I am not familiar with, so that would be why.
All right, and Mike, you were on the right track. He's two-timing on a bunch of women. They do set him up with a new girl to basically, and they coach her through like basically how to break his heart. So It's kind of like a proto Mean Girls, but less murdery than Heather's. So, okay, well, let's close out this round with number 10 of Lion King.
Locked in?
Locked in. We made this joke earlier.
Yeah, Mike, isn't this the same one that Sons of Anarchy is based off of?
I couldn't tell you. I've never watched
Hamlet?
an episode of Sons of Anarchy. I know Lion King 1.
Hold on.
Well, I know Lion King 1.5 is based on Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead, so I'm fairly certain Lion King is based off Hamlet.
Okay, hold on.
I'm also fairly certain Chris couldn't have told you Merry Wives of Windsor was a fucking Shakespeare play till about 2 minutes ago.
Okay.
Oh, no, that was all. He gave me two options, and then I literally said, isn't Much Ado a love square? And he said, yes, let's go with Merry Wives. So.
Okay, so real quick, is it Hamlet or is it Macbeth? Because I conflate the two in my mind because I don't touch Shakespeare.
It's completely Hamlet, 100%.
Okay, then Hamlet.
Okay, and Jeremy and Chris?
So earlier, Brittany said something along the lines of, it's never been officially confirmed by the writers of this next one, but the critics have said, and there's a lot of corroborating sources, that this play or this book or this movie was based on this work. And I immediately in chat type Hamlet Lion King. We'll lock it in if that's what it is. And that was earlier in the round, and it wasn't. That was the other one that you'd pulled out like that. So yeah, it's been in our chat since like the third question of the round. So we locked in with Hamlet.
Okay, and both teams picking up credit on that one because it is Hamlet. So
it's actually based on Kimba the White Lion. Seriously, look it up.
I know. All right, so at the end of that, we have a score of 60 for Critical Mind to 54 for Critical Grinding Rolls.
All right, that does it for this episode. Be sure to tune in next week to find out whether Chris and Jeremy will finally miss a frickin' question. Until then, please refer to the show notes for all the ways you can support the podcast or get in touch with us on social media. On behalf of Brittany, Tim, Chris, and Jeremy, I've been Mike. Have a good one.